Welcome to the first episode of the Beyond the Billable Hour podcast. I'm Flora and I'm a lawyer in the commercial and property team at FCW Lawyers, and I'm here with my colleagues. I'll pass on to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm the lawyer in the dispute resolution and insolvency team at FCW Lawyers.
And I'm Tom. I'm currently a graduate. I'm about to be admitted, and I work in the workplace relations team. So this podcast is basically just a little, for us to just talk a little bit about our experiences transitioning from university to practice, and just like some little anecdotes and things like that we wish we knew going into practice, and
Tips
that
and
might
tricks.
be useful to people out there. So
Thanks,
without
Tom.
further ado.
Thanks, Tom. So for our first episode, we're going to be talking about the transition from university to practice. So we'll get the first question going. So, what stood out as key differences between uni and PLT?
Can I go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. Well, university was very theory focused, whereas PLT was very practical focused. With PLT, the good thing about it is that you could choose certain areas or subjects, I should say, that you wanted to specifically sort of specialise in, whereas with university, you've got a whole range of different units and for different types of law. So, that's one big key difference, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think for me, like, one thing, when I was at university, I had a bad habit of writing in really, like, long sentences, like, that I picked up from school.
Yeah.
And, like, really long paragraphs and just overwriting a lot of things. And at university, like, my teachers would tell me that was a bad habit, but I realised when I moved to practice, it's really, like,
Complete opposite.
yeah, like, it really is. It's almost a problem. So, adapting to the sort of just concise directness of legal writing has been a learning curve for me. So I think, it's hard to plan ahead for that because you've got to write for like how you need to at the time. But yeah, that was just something that I'm still working on, and it's been just an interesting point of difference.
Yeah.
Good points. So, I think agree with everything you guys have just said. So, uni is obviously a lot more theory focused. You've got a lot of case law, a lot of legislation, and obviously since you have to demonstrate your knowledge, you're having to include literally everything to show that you understand. Whereas, in PLT and in practice as well, no one really cares how much you know.
Yeah, it's
They
like,
want to know how it applies to them and, their matter. So,
I guess at uni you're writing to a professor or a teacher, like a legal scholar or something, whatever. Whereas here you could be writing to a number of different clients, who are varied and want different things, and maybe they're not as interested as your teachers at uni are.
100%.
You have to adapt
Explaining the
what
law.
they want and what they need.
I don't know about the both of you, but I honestly preferred PLT a lot better than university. I don't know, what would you say?
I really like sort of sinking my teeth into like topics at uni. So adapting to like just the practical side of things at PLT was, I don't know, I found it a little bit more stale maybe.
Okay.
But now that I'm a bit more used to it, I kind of enjoy just being able to bypass all the citation and just state exactly what I mean and not have to worry about all that.
No more AGLC
Yeah.
law.
Yeah, so that's a relief.
Yeah. And that was a good aspect of PLT, not having to do any citing.
It's a nice break.
And just writing. So,
Sure.
love that.
I'd also say use a lot of subheadings. That was something that, like at uni, I was always trying to form long paragraphs with like introductory sentences. I couldn't really get my head around the fact you can just write a subheading and get straight into it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do that, in practice or in PLT, most of the time no one's even going to read what you've
Do you mean the long
No.
sentences?
Yeah.
For sure.
No.
Yeah. So use the subheadings, I would say. That's the tip I've been given.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
Alright, let's go on to the second question. Alright. What are the differences between uni and PLT to practice? Compared to practice?
So, firstly, the deadlines.
Yeah, deadlines is a big one.
Yeah.
University, you get given 2 weeks to write a 2,000-word essay.
Yeah.
When you're in practice, you only got a couple of days to get something
If that,
together.
sometimes.
If that. That's generous.
If you're lucky.
But it's
if you're
probably a
lucky.
much smaller task.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well,
At least
a lot
in
of
my
the time.
experience it has been.
Well, part of the dispute resolution and insolvency team, a lot of the time I've got to draft statements of claims and affidavits, and you only have a few days to get it together before it goes off to the client for their review.
Yeah.
So getting all that in that short amount of time can be a bit challenging.
Yeah.
But
Even on my end, we've got, quite large agreements, business sale agreements, share sale agreements, contracts of sale. It's, they do take time. But sometimes you don't really have that much time.
Depending on the urgency of the matter as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I just in my work, a lot of the stuff that I get given is sort of a smaller nature, but they'll be more frequent. So at uni, I would focus on like one assignment at a time and spend a week or two on it. Whereas at work, I'm expected just to quickly address the issue that the client's issue, rather than without spending an hour just getting my head around it, just sort of just being direct with my approach. So that's been something that I've had to get used to.
Yeah.
And I'd also say just the ability to ask for help at work is a lot more readily available than at uni, where you sort of just are a bit out there alone.
Yeah, 100%.
So I would definitely encourage people to not be afraid to ask for help. Put your pride aside.
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
And I think, Tom, you kind of touched on this already, but sort of unlearning the habits that you've learned at uni. So, getting out of really formal legal writing, long sentences, introductory sentences, using a sort of really formulated structure, IRAC. Getting out of that, obviously, when you do advice or when you, really do anything, you have to have some sort of structure, but it's so different to what it is at uni.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
One more question.
Last question.
What advice do you wish you knew along the way? I could probably start by answering this. I was just, when I was thinking about starting full-time work, I was quite worried about how I was going to adapt to the lifestyle of full-time work and the routine of, a 9 to 5. And just the regularity of that, because I was so used to the freedom of university.
Sure, big change.
And I was pleasantly surprised that the routine actually helped me rather than burdened me. So I think it would have been a lot more relaxed going in, having known that. So I would say, that's going to be different for everyone, but I feel like there'll be people out there who relate to that.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
You may find the routine is actually, helpful and less stressful.
100%. Something I wish I knew along the way. At university, I didn't know that PLT existed until my third year into university. I just thought I know, what a shock. I just thought after the degree, you simply become a lawyer. No, that's not the case. You have to do 6 months of PLT, and there's 2 different colleges, College of Law or Leo Cusson. We went to Leo Cusson. And then you also have to do a fit and proper person test, which I knew nothing about. I wish I knew that a bit sooner. Not that it would have made a difference in my career, but just it sort of wasn't communicated at the beginning of my university degree. So
something a lot of people don't know about the fit and proper person test is that you have to disclose pretty much everything you've ever done, from Mikey fines, Centrelink debt, parking fines, speeding fines, any plagiarism at university.
Which is a big one.
Which is
So if you're thinking about doing that, I would really advise against it, because that seems to be a big problem.
Yeah.
Not that any of us have done that, obviously. But
just exposing yourself.
Yeah, live. I think that about covers everything I've got to say about the transition. But
alright, great. Thanks, guys, and thanks for watching our first ever video, and we hope to see you next time. Our next video will be talking about personal brand and social media. So see you next time.
Bye.